Hello there, people of the internet. Welcome to my kitchen. I have no legitimate place to record, and today we are going to go ahead and talk about the top 5 calibers, rifle calibers, that in my opinion I feel you should stockpile. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say if you do not own a rifle that is chambered in one of these, you probably shouldn't stockpile. And that is one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and point off right from the get-go. If you don't own anything to make these rounds, function, then don't bother stockpiling them and disregard what it is that I'm saying. But if you have, like what I have, an arsenal of all different sorts of rifles and all different sorts of calibers, these are my rounds that I recommend that you stockpile. And odds are, if you have a bunch of different guns, you probably have at least one chambered in these right here. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about one that everybody sees coming. This right here is a 22 long rifle. Of course, you should stockpile these. These right here are one of the most common rounds that you will find all around the United States. Everybody loves them, including anti-gunners and FUDs and people like that. The 22 long rifle is not the most powerful round, but it is powerful enough to handle basically any job. You can get any number of small game with this thing, up to your two-legged predators. You can stockpile these by the tens of thousands, and they don't take up a lot of room because they're so small. You can carry a tremendous amount of ammunition with you on your person. They're accurate out to a fair distance. I wouldn't really go past 200 yards with these things, and that's very optimistic with a 22 long rifle. But you can lay down a lot of firepower really, really quickly with these things. They're great to teach with. They don't have a lot of recoil. They're very accurate if you have a rifle that is very accurate. The biggest downside with them is they're very dirty ammunition, and they deposit a lot of miscellaneous debris and whatnot inside of your rifle. So you'll have to clean your rifle pretty regularly. But this right here is a very good round to stockpile because it has a lot of applications, not a lot of downsides. It's not exactly the most reliable round because it is rimfire, so I wouldn't recommend using it as a defensive cartridge, but it definitely has plenty of other capabilities. Just because of the ease of use, the ability to stockpile it on a massive, massive level, its compact nature and not taking up a lot of room or having a lot of weight, and its availability and price point. Although they are way more expensive than they used to be, you can still buy a box of 500 plus rounds of 22 long rifle for about $50 to $60, which is way better than what you could do for most other ammunition. This right here is one of the rounds that I say go ahead and stockpile just because it is one of the easiest to stockpile, and it is a very, very, very versatile round. It is definitely one in deserving of being on this list of rifle ammunition to be stockpiled. Now, I thought about sticking this because I plan on making a 22, or not a 22, I plan on making a top 5 pistol calibers to stockpile. This right here, I was thinking about sticking on that list, and I still might do that anyway because it's the only thing that makes this a rifle cartridge is the fact that it is 22 long rifle. It is the name basically, but it is not ballistically inherent of a rifle cartridge in even the slightest aspect. All right, number 2 on our list. This right here is one that, of course, nobody sees coming. That everybody sees coming. I live in the United States, and this right here is one of the most predominant self-defense cartridges in the United States. This right here is a 223/556. They are, I almost said they're interchangeable. They're technically not, but for the sake of this video, stockpile one or the other. If you have a 556 rifle, stockpile one or the other. 223 specifically, the steel case stuff. This stuff does run dirtier in your AR platform, and it doesn't run all that well in shorter pistol length gas systems, but if you're running a carbine or standard length, these right here run just fine. They are definitely powerful enough to handle anything up to medium game or two-legged predators. They can touch out to a pretty significant distance, out to, I'd say safely 700 yards or so if you have any sort of competency shooting out to that kind of distance. They're a small round that are designed to break apart on impact, so over-penetration is not too terribly big of a deal. It is something to consider, but not too terribly big of a deal. Since it's so popular, it is a cheap-ish round to get. These right here have climbed dramatically in price over the course of 2020 and 2021, but they are slowly diving back down to I don't really want to say regular prices, but at least comfortable to buy prices. I recommend stockpiling 22, or not 22. I look down at the 22 long rifle here. I recommend stockpiling 223/556 ammunition unless you don't have some sort of platform to utilize that ammunition. Besides that, I don't really know what else to add to this. It's a very, very good round, very capable. Not the most amount of stopping power, but definitely able to handle whatever it is that we are looking to handle. 223/556, there is a very, very, very good defensive cartridge, and having a lot of it available is not only good in terms of being able to defend yourself and have a good peace of mind, but if something goes down and money is no longer good, odds are you'll be able to trade these away to somebody else with some 5.56 rifles if you have a good stockpile of it and can afford it for something that you may need, like food, medical supplies, etc., etc. 223 is a very, very good go-to for stockpiling. All right, next up on the list, this right here is kind of an oddball. I don't necessarily mean this right here, but I also do necessarily mean this right here. This right here is the 7.62x39. I recommend stockpiling this stuff right here, A, because it is always available, including during times of ammo shortage. We do have the Russian ammunition ban going on right now, but that's not going to really impact us for a couple of years, and by that time I am certain that other manufacturers will step up and fill in the gap for our loss of Russian imported 7.62x39. Now, I say 7.62x39 because my go-to defensive rifle is my Romanian RH-10. It is an AK-47 model, or an AKM. People always get on to me for calling AKMs AK-47s. I get it. Technically not the same, but people are always looking for a reason to complain. But my go-to is an AK-47, so it is, of course, good for me to go ahead and stockpile that kind of ammunition. If your go-to is a P90, stockpile 5.7. If your go-to is, what's another good one? If your go-to is the 223, then there should be something that you stockpile. If your go-to is, if your go-to is an M1 Garand, if you're, 65 years old and your go-to is an M1 Garand because it's what you know like the back of your hand, stockpile 30-06. This right here is a representation of stockpiling your defensive rounds. Whatever it is that you go to, I recommend that you stockpile that stuff by like the thousands of rounds. I have quite a lot of 7.62x39 stockpiled and ready and available if I ever need it. If you have yourself an AK-47, I recommend stockpiling 7.62x39 anyway, but if you don't have an AK-47 and think that they're just communist, inaccurate garbage, you're wrong, but stockpile whatever it is that you would, go to. Like I said in the beginning of this video, if you don't own one of those rifles, then that should not be something that you stockpile. I don't own a 5.7, why the hell would I stockpile 5.7 ammunition? Next up on our list is the 308 caliber / 7.62 NATO ammunition. This right here is actually a tracer round, although the red tip has long since worn off of it. These are fun rounds. Anyone who's shot a propane can or a paint can with 7.62 NATO tracers, Fireball, these are fun rounds. These are very, very fun rounds. But the 308 round is very capable of hitting out to very long distances. It's a very, very powerful, very potent round, very predominant. There are a lot of rifles out there that take a 308 round. They are one of the more popular rounds here in the United States. Very popular for hunting, very popular for defensive purposes. If you have yourself like a SETME or a G3 or something like that, 7.62 NATO is definitely a good go-to. 7.62 NATO / 308 ammunition is very, very available and very, very cheap. I use that term loosely, but I'm comparing it to other high-powered cartridge rounds. You can stockpile a lot of this for a lot less money than you would stockpile something like 7mm 08. or 6.5 Creedmoor or 243 or something like that. These right here, you can get a lot more bang for your buck and a lot more bangs for your buck than you would stockpiling something else. The 308 is a very, very capable round. It can be run in semi-automatic platforms and bolt-action platforms, depending on what it is that you're applying the ammunition for. Not only that, but just like the 223, with how predominant it is, you'll probably be able to trade this off if, you know, things go down and you need a source of value and money no longer has any value. These right here would be a very, very good option for that. 308, very, very, very capable. Damn near the same diameter. I say damn near, not exact. Same diameter as a 7.62 by 39. The 7.62 by 39 is designed for shorter distances, but it still deals quite a lot of power. That's why I recommend that you stockpile that as well if you have yourself an AK-47. But the 308 can touch out to some very, very nice distances. There are other rounds out there that are definitely more capable at longer ranges than 308. But the reason why I brought up 308 is just because it is way more available, way cheaper to stockpile, and odds are you'll be able to find what it is that you're looking for way easier than you will be able to find other cartridges. The next one is an oddballing. I chose this one because of its massive availability and quantity. This right here is the 7.62 by 54 rimmed. With the Russian ammo ban, I'm not sure about the future of this round, but as of right now, you can stockpile this round by the thousands for not a lot of money. These rounds right here, I paid like 35 cents a round as of right now because the Russian ammo ban is up and everybody's panic buying. These are about 50 cents a round, but they'll dip back down to about 35 cents a round. Buy yourself a case of 1,000 of these. It's not a lot of money, and it is a full power rifle cartridge. And the 54 rimmed is about half the price or so in normal times as the 308. You could stockpile a lot of 54 rimmed ammunition for not a lot of money. You could stockpile twice the amount of 54 rimmed for the same amount of money that you'd spend on 308/7.62 NATO. These right here are very powerful rounds, fired out of a full-length Mosin Nagant. They have the same ballistics as a 30-06, so they are very, very, very capable of handling anything, you know, on this side of the world or in the North or South Americas. I'm not entirely sure where the population is that watches these videos. Let me know in the comments down below, where is it that you're at, you know, whenever you watch these videos. But 54 rim is imported into the United States by a pretty fair amount. With the Russian ammo ban, I'm not sure how it's going to be impacted, but I am pretty sure that there's other countries and manufacturers that are going to continue to manufacture 54 rimmed and import it into the United States. And I doubt the price is going to raise all that much, but only time will tell on that. Now, is it, you know, the greatest cartridge out there? Hell no, it's not the greatest cartridge out there. It's a rimmed cartridge. Odds are, if you own several firearms like I do, you probably own a Mosin Nagant or some sort of variant of the 9130 M44, the Model 38 Type 53 maybe. There's millions and millions and millions of Mosin Nagants out there, all different sorts of countries made Mosin Nagant rifles. Odds are you can get your hands on one. They're not overly expensive for what it is that you're getting. 350 bucks will grab you a rifle that is reasonably accurate. I say reasonably because some of them are like sub MOA and some of them are, you know, from World War II and fought through Stalingrad all the way to Berlin and have seen a hard life and probably have like 6-inch groups or 8-inch groups or whatever the hell at 100 yards. Military surplus is always hit or miss, but you can get yourself a very capable rifle for not a lot of money that is literally going to outlast you, and you can get yourself a good stockpile of ammunition for it for not a lot of money as well. Having, well, back in the day it was more predominant, but having several Mosin Nagants for not a lot of money to go ahead and arm yourself, you know, a small militia armed with 54 rimmed ammunition and those rifles, it is a force to be reckoned with. However, that's not really as much of the case today because for that same price point, or at least very, very similar, you can get yourself some lower tier AR-15s, and 223 is roughly the same price as 54 rimmed right now, and an AR platform is definitely way more capable of laying down a lot of fire a lot quicker than your most Nagant rifles are. Not only that, but the 223, technically speaking, not always the case, but 223 is likely going to be more accurate out to, 500 or 600 yards. Hear me out now before you go typing furiously in the comments. 223 from a modern production AR-15 is likely going to be more accurate out to 500 or 600 yards than your rack random grab military surplus Mosin Nagant rifle from World War II that who knows how much erosion in the barrel and whatnot. Who knows what the story is behind that rifle. I mean, there's Mosin Nagants out there that shoot very, very, very well, but there's a vast, vast amount of them that do not. So 54 rimmed, the cartridge itself, don't blame the cartridge, but the rifles can be kind of sketchy. But these right here are the 5 rifle cartridges that I recommend that you stockpile by the absolute surplus while you can, because who knows what the future has to hold. 22 long rifle is definitely a good one, but it is not the end-all be-all. If I had to pick one, like if I had to tell you guys stockpile this right here, if I had to pick one, I'd say probably the 223 cartridge. Just because of its availability, its price point, and its capabilities. The 223, you can do anything with that you might need your 22 long rifle with. It's still a fairly lightweight cartridge in comparison to some of the other cartridges out there. Very capable. You can hit out to quite a long distance with it. Very reliable, assuming that your AR is reliable. Anyway, I've already made all my points on the 223. That would be the one that I would recommend most people stockpile. I, myself, stockpile en masse the 7.62x39 just because that is my go-to cartridge. I have a plethora of rifles chambered in 7.62x39. I, myself, cannot touch out to distances past 400 yards, and that is the capabilities of the 7.62x39. So that is that's about as far as I would touch out anyway. Don't get me wrong, I still have a fair amount of 223. I have a fair amount of all of this right here on the table. I stockpile each of these cartridges, which is why I decided to go ahead and make this video. Alright, well, let me know what y'all's comments, thoughts, issues are down below. The third cartridge that I mentioned, for me it's 7.62x39, but if you don't have an AK, then turn that into whatever defensive round it is that you guys have. You'll notice that there's no pistol ammunition or shotgun shells or anything like that over here. This is focused specifically on rifle ammunition. I will go ahead and make other videos based off of the other cartridges out there. This right here is... There's too many choices out there to shove all of them into one video. Now, if I had like a top 10 cartridges to stockpile, I could maybe shove all of them into one video, but that would take a long time. This video is already running about 20 minutes, so let me know what y'all's thoughts are down below. What else? Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. Like the video if you like the video, and down in the description you're going to find a bunch of links to all sorts of stuff, including an email list, just in case, because people in power don't like the fact that I own guns, and they don't like the fact that I make gun content and am telling people to go out and buy as much ammunition as they can get their fascinating little hands on. All right, well, that just about wraps it up for me. I'm going to go shoot something. I feel like walking out to the range and going off and blasting off a couple of rounds. So I'm going to go do that. I wanted to go ahead and make this video because this is one that I've thought about for quite some time, and I finally just bit the bullet, sat down, and talked about it. Finally did it. All right, well, thanks for watching. You guys go off. Have a fantastic day.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.